What's going on, YouTube and cryptocurrency family? My name is Harry, and I'm the Crypto Vet. Thank you for tuning back in. We're still kind of in a consolidation phase here on Bitcoin. Still getting a lot of questions. I know people are curious. Is this the top? Is this the bottom? Are we entering a bear market? And where do we go from here? So I'm going to do my best to answer a lot of those questions here today. So again, keep the questions coming. I really do appreciate it. I hope everything I'm bringing to you guys is helping you learn a little bit more and helping you guys do more of your own research, so that way you are responsible, right? Because I'm just a doctor slash idiot. This is not financial advice, right? So thank you again, and just keep the questions coming, guys. All right. So if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at XRP Veterinarian. Links for Twitch, Discord, all the other shit goodies, fucking down below. But let's go ahead and get started here. If we head over to CoinMarketCap, we can see here that the current crypto market cap's at 1.7 trillion. Bitcoin dominance is dropping again, down to around 41%. And if we look here at the top 10, we can see we have more green in the market. Doge is moving quite a bit. As far as our biggest gamers, Kusama, other DeFi projects. And then as far as biggest losers, we don't really have too many. The market seems to be changing, and sentiment seems to be changing more towards the good side, right? So question is this a bull trap and that we will continue to go lower, or what do we do from here? Well, I have no idea, right? So my best guess is based off of following some technical patterns in the charts, using fundamental analysis, my experience in the markets, and then utilizing my overall plan that I had with investing and sticking to the plan, and then, just going from there. But if we head over to Bitcoin dominance right now, just to look at it a little bit further, we can see that we're down to around 42 and a half, which right here we can see is, getting in this zone where I thought altcoins would potentially reverse, where we could have Bitcoin move to the upside, where we could potentially have the altcoins find their tops and start to consolidate, right? So right now we don't know, because we're kind of in the middle of that. Bitcoin could still go up, altcoins could still pump more, and we could see Bitcoin's dominance drop. We don't know, but we can keep an eye on it to see how the markets are reacting together. So for right now, it's looking like that altcoins are actually doing more than Bitcoin, right? So we can see that as the dominance drops. So overall, our market cap is going up, but Bitcoin dominance is dropping. And if we look at the left side here, this is the total market cap of altcoins. On the right-hand side, this is everything, Bitcoin and altcoins. And we can see here that the patterns are very, very similar, right? But that altcoins by themselves are doing a little bit better against Bitcoin. So this is just saying that right now the altcoins have a little bit more momentum than Bitcoin. But to be a successful trader during these times, and overall in any market, whether it's stocks, crypto, forex, no matter the case, to be a good trader, you have to be able to identify where you are in the market, because you can't time the tops and you can't time the bottoms, but you can tell, okay, am I in a bullish trend or a bearish trend? And if you can identify those kind of things, you can lower your risk a lot better and continue on trading, investing more, accumulating, whatever your case, whatever your strategy may be. But for the case of Bitcoin, biggest question I have is this the top? Well, personally, I do not think this is the top. And I'm doing this based off of the past and my belief that the macro trend of like 4-year cycle with Bitcoin, due to the having a deflationary asset that is becoming scarce, right? So overall, the metrics and fundamentals behind Bitcoin tell me that I don't think we're in a bear market yet. But bear market and bull market is all a relative term to what kind of time interval that you are looking at, right? So if you look at Bitcoin as a whole, Bitcoin's never seen a bear market. It's always set higher highs and higher lows. It's never seen a bear market, right? Well, if you bring it down into the 4-year cycles I have, it has seen a bear market at the start, and then somewhere in here it starts its uptrend, right? Well, okay, so that's kind of a cool thing. We can say here, well, Bitcoin, since its inception, which is very young, right? If we were comparing gold, we could do 30, 40, 50 years worth of charts. But with Bitcoin, it's only been around since 2012. So a little bit before 2012, that's all the data we have. So if we were at a top, right, similar to where we found our top in 2013, 2017, our top would be potentially met at December of this year, right before 2022. Well, if we look here, we actually met the top a month before in 2013, the month of on 2017. So, potentially will extend out till like maybe the end of January, February before we have a correction. But one of the coolest things I saw about this chart and adding the 4-year theory or 4-year cycle on top of it is that every time whatever price we hit in May, the year of the rally, the last year, so this would be 13, 17, and now 21 if this was to play out. Whatever price we reached in May was the bottom for the next cycle. Whatever price we reached in May was the bottom for the next cycle. Well, we are now in May going into June. So I have the price that we are at for May, and you can see that we're below it, which again, if you follow moving averages, whatever type of technical analysis you do, your whole goal is to compare all of this data against what you think is a strategy to make you money, right? So, who cares which plan or which route you follow? In my opinion, I know that Bitcoin is most likely not going to finish its bull run for this 4-year cycle until closer to the end of the year. So to me, all I'm thinking of is long positions are very, very good for the long term until this point. So my strategy is to accumulate anything now and start selling off towards the end of the year, right? If I'm wrong, well, then I'm going to have to wait it out. I'm not going to sell at a loss, but I'm okay losing all the money that I have invested, so I don't need it to survive or do anything. So that's my strategy. If your strategy is a little stricter and you need this money by a certain time period, this strategy investing may not be the best bet for you. So just remember that when you're trying to do all this, any type of technical analysis, any trends, any things that you find or compare that look good, they can be beneficial if you can apply it to a strategy that works, right? And that's the hardest part about trading, because you could find something that looks good, but then the opportunity, you have to wait for it to show up. And most people don't have the patience for the trigger that says, yes, I'm going to do it at this point, or no, I'm going to do it at that point. And that's kind of why I try to make these videos. I don't want to give you exactly how I'm trading or what I'm doing, because my strategy works for the amount of money I have invested, for my plan on returns, and all of these other things put together. And your plan could be completely different. But my goal of doing the videos is to kind of show you where my thought process comes in. So by seeing this chart here, I'm thinking in my head, well, last time we came down to here, it wasn't until, the last 3 months that we actually saw this huge 600 or something percent return. So like say 600% return right when we broke above that May point. So if we go over here, here's the May line. If we go to when we broke above it to the top, around 600%. So let's say we were to break this May high here, which is at like, I don't know, $60,000. Let's say we break that and go up 600%. What does this put us at? Almost $500,000 Bitcoin. So this is where I'm basing all of my analysis on, is that the fact that we are more likely to go up. So this probability is higher than anything you're seeing on the daily, on the weekly, and it's not until you get onto the monthly charts here that you start to see, okay, maybe we're not at the end, right? I could be wrong. We could still come back down, and we're starting to see something that Bitcoin may take another 4 years of consolidating sideways, a really long bear market before going up. Who the fuck knows, right? I don't know. But based off of past trends, my strategy is to try to capitulate off of a move from here to here. And, trying to help other people learn how I do this is the whole goal of the channel. So sorry I went on a little tangent there, but you just have to remember that any analysis is probably right for whatever strategy they're using. But if you try to take their data and apply it to my strategy, then you may have something contradicting, but to me, I may weigh that certain aspect as not a high degree of, certainty or determination to whether probabilities go up or down. So, you take every analyst with a grain of salt, including myself. So this is just how I'm doing it, how I see things, and how I'm plan on making money. But if we look here on the weekly, we zoom in, we can see lots of bearish things. We have a cross on the MACD, our momentum's coming down. The only good thing is we're maybe getting close here to the oversold, where we have a lot of support and have a likely chance to bounce to the upside. But as of right now, most signs are showing that it looks pretty weak for Bitcoin. It's not until you zoom in here that you can see that we have our little constricting symmetrical triangle, which is most likely a extension. So if this was a continuation pattern, it'd have a higher probability to break to the downside. To answer the question in the Discord is like, how would I trade something in these markets right now? Well, I would personally be trading within something that we know, resistance, support. I would be trying to capitalize off these moves with tight stop losses. Like this move right here would be a 3-to-1 risk reward. You know, if you did 10x leverage, which to me I think is pretty high, that would be, you know, $670 per $1,000 you put on this trade that you could make, right? So there's a lot of money to be made, but you have to remember that I set this whole trade up right now with a complete strategy. My strategy is that I still think it's going to go up. I think it's going to bounce between this pattern, but I think it's going to go from this point to this point. So my strategy is I will buy in at this point. I want my stop loss to be here. I want my take profits to be here. And that's one trade. I have a plan from start to finish. There's nothing in between. If it hits one or it hits the other, that's the end of the trade. So right now we can see that we are coming, what looks like to be coming to the downside. Even though we have a bullish cross on the MACD for the daily on Bitcoin, we can see that we found resistance again on this line coming down. And let me just delete this to make it easier. And we do have a lot of support here with the VPVR. You can see how this was support resistance all the way through. However, you know, right now it looks like the buying volume is not quite there, so it's more likely to come down. Well, there's lots of other things that we can use to determine whether or not Bitcoin is more likely to go up or down. If we look here, I have the Bitcoin shorts on the left and the Bitcoin longs on the right from Bitfinex, and these can kind of help me determine, all right, is more of the sentiment towards shorting or longing? And for this, I really like to use the momentum waves from Market Cipher. If I'm on the shorts here on the left, and you can see the green dot forming right here, this is letting me know that a short is more likely to start getting bought now by traders over longs because longs have been overextended. So then I can go, all right, let me look over here at longs. What does it look like over here? Well, you can see the opposite. We can see sell signals on the longs. We can see buy signals on the shorts. All right, well, what's the distance and whatnot? So this is where it can get pretty complicated. So I'm just going to go over it real quickly. If we look over here at Bitcoin, I have this difference here that's $2,500. This difference is calculated by measuring the, finding like a pattern or chart, some sort of support resistance, and I'm measuring distances between where the short and long price differences actually are. And in the end of it, you can see that we have a $6,100 difference between the current price of Bitcoin at 37,000 versus what the longs are at. If we take what the shorts are at, subtract it, we get a roughly 5,000, divide that by 2, and we can see that if we were to drop $2,500 here and go up $2,500 on the shorts, you can see this is where the shorts and the longs tend to flip, is at that $2,500 mark. And if you take $2,500 off of this 43, you can see that puts us on support of an uptrend for long positions in Bitfinex, right? So take this for a grain of salt, but if this was to all play out, and if I go back to this chart, you could see that before this would come to a support, this would hit a resistance, we would roughly have a $2,500 drop in price. And what do you know, between support and resistance is $2,500. This is just something that's kind of building up confidence in the strategy to put in this certain position to potentially make money, right? So I just wanted to demonstrate like this process of putting in like a short trade if I was going to do some day trading, just to help give you an idea, because I know a lot of people go in and go like, all right, I think the price is going to go up. I'm going to throw this bitch on 25x. I'm going to put $1,000 on it and it's going to go up. Well, before it goes up, it comes down low enough to liquidate you and then it goes up a week later, right? It's not that you were wrong about what was going to happen. It's your timing was completely off and your risk management wasn't adequate to allow for your timing variance, right? And throughout time and enough money lost, you'll learn this as you're trading, which is why I always recommend just buy and hold, sit back and learn. The more learning you do, the less money you'll lose. And it's going to take a while, but if you can stick to it, great. But as long as you keep that shit on the sideline, just chilling, that you're not messing with, not risking in these trades, you'll be much more successful, because even when you get good, you're going to be only like 55% of the time more profitable than if you did nothing. And then at that point, you'll learn to fine tune your risk management, use lower leverage like 2 to 5x, and just slowly doubling everything you have over and over. And then, you know, it's at that point that you finally realize, oh, I didn't really need to do everything as hard or as strict as I did before. I just needed to use lower leverage and smart swing trading, and boom, that account just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So with Bitcoin right now, it does look like we'll get rejected here, probably bounce out. But even if we were to break above this, let me go ahead and just back these other two. Let me get this line off. Hide and hide. Okay. So if we look at this here, this is the same thing, just on the hourly. We can see this resistance line that we were coming up against. One of the things that I'm worried about is I see a lot of people like, hey, the second we get above this point, that's when, you know, it's bullish and going in. Well, I'm worried about that because there's a lot of other places that we could have resistance here. We have these 20 weekly exponential moving averages, the blue one. Light blue is 20 daily. This pinkish purple one, this is the 200 simple moving average. We have all of these resistance here, including 42,000. And 42,000 is the number that I'm looking at personally to get above. And the reason why is that if this was, say, a Wyckoff accumulation, this point right here, the preliminary support, this is the number we need to get above to show signs of strength to get back up and start having maybe an Elliott wave up to the upside, whatever. But we have to get above that and show support before we can actually get above it. And the thing is, even when we get to 42,000, we still have the weekly exponential moving average above us, as well as 47,000, which was the key support before we fell at that point. So for me, anything that happens right now, when we hit 42, if we get above this is when I'll start looking for potentially longing Bitcoin. If we get down to 35 here, this is when I'm going to start getting worried that potentially we could go lower, and going lower is always possible. If we were to, which chart was it here? If we were to actually go down to this bearish target, which would be very, very sad, you know, this would be roughly $22,000, $13,000 drop, which, you know, if we added the 2,500 plus this 11,000 going from this channel to the bottom, comes out to $13,000, which would be from our current price roughly down to this area or zone, right? So this would be the next likely support, which going back to the monthly would be, you know, back to the previous all-time high, which hasn't been seen in a cycle, but it's definitely new things could be occurring at this time, you know, that we haven't seen in past cycles that, you know, we're just going to have to deal with, whether it's good or bad. So, you know, for now, keeping an eye, you know, if we drop below 35,000 on Bitcoin, I'll start looking to see for shorts above 42, potentially long. So I hope that answers some of the questions, and I know it's a lot longer, but just to give you an idea of how I approach the market. So since I'm in a bullish sense on crypto until December, all of these patterns to me are very, very likely to be points of potential reversal, especially this one at 30,000, because of how similar it is forming to the cycle in 2013, especially with all the FUD news. Everything just lines up very, very perfectly for this to be a very good bottom. That's just my opinion. Could be completely wrong. So, you know, make sure you do your own research. But to me, this seems like the most logical place for a bottom. And even if we stay here, or, you know, wick down really quick to 20 or 30, I don't think that you, unless you have limit orders in now, it's very likely that you'll ever be able to actually get those prices, right? So you got to have the cash set up, locked in an exchange, ready to buy at that price, because most likely it'll get bought up really, really, really quick. So if we move over to Ethereum, everything looks exactly the same as Bitcoin. You know, we're within similar patterns. For Ethereum, I want to see us get above 28, let's say 2,900 to get above this resistance, actually hold. And then for me, when we actually get back up above 3,000, I'll consider start going into some trades, potentially from like 3 to 3,300. Some of those moves that but I want to make sure we've confirmed that we're going up, and then I'll start trading in the uptrends as we go. If we look at Dogecoin, we could see that this resistance line that we were previous, so we had two symmetrical triangles. We had a blue circle and a yellow circle signifying very similar price action within these patterns and time frames. We had the bad news. We've been trending on support, finally got back above the 20 daily, and now we're hitting this line as resistance now instead of support. So, if we start seeing some maybe 45-cent Dogecoin, very good chance that we could see Doge pump all the way up to, something like 62, 63 cents. And this is just, W move from resistance to the bottom and taking this bad boy and moving it up here. So, Doge could potentially be a buy, especially with all the issues with AMC and Robinhood and all that stuff. But that just showing its money is moving into Robinhood. What things can you buy if AMC and all these other stuff are suspended? Well, you can buy Ethereum Classic and fucking Dogecoin, right? Ta-da! So, definitely something to keep an eye on. So those are some of the key things I'm looking to see. As far as XRP goes, you guys know I love XRP. This, actually, you can't even see it on the screen. This little move right here, this tiny thing, I think that equates to what this move is right here. So if we look at what happened after that, which was in May and June, we had this ridiculous rally before we consolidated till October. So I do anticipate that here in the next month or so, we will have that big move that will actually beat our all-time high. Then we will start our consolidation before another move towards the end of the year. If we zoom in a little bit more, we can see here on the daily that this previous resistance here is now acting as support, but we're underneath this 20 daily exponential moving average. If I see XRP get above like 110, 111 and hold, I would not be surprised if we saw it launch up to about 120, 125 real quick, and then from there all the way up to maybe about 150. Because I think that this, all of this is just suppression and everything with Bitcoin, lawsuits, all of this stuff adding together. So, be mindful that these are probably some really good prices, in my opinion. Doctor/idiot, not advice, just saying. I think these are wonderful prices for XRP. When I'll start looking for a move for new all-time highs and things and retracement to previous highs, definitely going to be looking for a break above this $1.80 box here, this resistance that we had before. So we're just going to keep a close eye. Right now, we are on some volume support for the short term, and you can see here's my 108, 110 point, which is right above the 20 daily. Just waiting to see us get above that. Then it's a little volume getting us back into the pattern. So, we'll keep an eye on XRP for now, but before you know it, it's probably going to move. We've been in a downtrend for a good amount of time. At any moment, this shit could just flip the other way. So thank you guys for sticking around. Hope you guys did stick around to the end and actually learn something. I know it's a long video, but I wanted you guys to get a better idea of how I think about the charts overall versus just a bunch of fucking lines and shit that I drew on here. Why did I draw them? All this other stuff. So if you do have any questions, please, hit me up somewhere, Discord, Twitter, YouTube comments, something. Let me know if there's anything I can help or explain better, anything of the sort. And we'll keep learning through this process together. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.